Welcome to the 2018-2019 NBA Award Predictions. My name is Josh, your enviers, and this is the third year in a row I've done these predictions. Let me know in the comments yours, and maybe they'll match up with some of mine. Let's start off by talking about the Coach of the Year. My Coach of the Year has to go to Brad Stevens. I said this last year as well, before the Gordon Hayward injury, and when I said that, I uploaded the video like a few days before the injury happened, and I got a bunch of comments saying, well, rest in peace to Brad Stevens winning Coach of the Year now. And in reality, last year, he could have easily won it because he took a Celtic team that didn't have one of their star players in Gordon Hayward to be able to win 55 games. I feel like the Boston Celtics overachieved last year, only for Dwayne Casey to be named Coach of the Year and then be fired by the Toronto Raptors after winning 59 games. With the healthy roster, the Celtics could easily be the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. If he doesn't win it next year, I don't know if Brad Stevens will ever win Coach of the Year because I don't know what else he has to do to prove himself. Another good choice for Coach of the Year would have to go to Quinn Snyder. Nobody expected the Jazz to be as good as they were and make it out of the first round of the playoffs last year, but they did, partially thanks to Donovan Mitchell, and the other half to Quinn Snyder. For taking a group of guys that have no one-said superstar just yet, Donovan Mitchell could be in the near future, and able to have success in the difficult Western Conference. The Jazz could surprise a lot more people this upcoming season by taking the next step and becoming a top 3 team in the Western Conference. It's perfect. Quinn Snyder's an underrated coach, and the Utah Jazz are a very underrated team. Next, let's talk about the most improved player of the year. And my most improved player goes to Miles Turner. This is always a tough one, year in and year out, because you don't really see the writing on the wall for some of these players to have a breakout season. Sometimes it's just getting more playing time. In this case, Miles Turner is most likely going to get that Andrew Wiggins extension from the Indiana Pacers or something near it. So it's going to be interesting to see if he does get paid a whole lot, if Miles Turner is able to step up for the Indiana Pacers and become a second star alongside Victor Oladipo. He was expected to be a double-double machine coming out of college. Unfortunately, he hasn't been getting rebounds, 10 rebounds per game throughout the first 3 years, but maybe that will change this upcoming season. His stat line was a little skewed last year compared to his second year in the league because he didn't play 82 games. But if he could possibly become like a 20-10 guy, that's kind of a reach. Next year, possibly? Miles Turner, my most improved player this year, like I said in the beginning. This one's always a difficult award. Another good choice would be Devin Booker. Just like Miles Turner, his stat line was a little skewed because he didn't play a full 82 games. He played 54 games. Miles Turner played like 64. So it looks a little bit better or worse, depending. Last year, Devin Booker scored 24 points per game in the limited amount of games he played. But this upcoming season, if he's able to play more games and average more points, possibly anywhere from 26 points per game to 28 points per game, that would put him in the top 5 with the MVP of last season, James Harden, who it looks like the Phoenix Suns are trying to mold Devin Booker into the James Harden-esque player, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. So it would be a huge step in Devin Booker's career if he's able to do that, and for the Phoenix Suns, and possibly even becoming an all-star this upcoming season. Next, let's talk about Sixth Man of the Year. My Sixth Man of the Year award goes to Isaiah Thomas of the Denver Nuggets, who we could possibly even talk in the most improved player consideration if all things go well for him. Last year was extremely rough for Isaiah, but I feel like this year the Denver Nuggets are a perfect situation. They're young, and they're going to be full of offense, and a team that's going to be competing for a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Just like I said about the Utah Jazz earlier in this video when talking about Quinn Snyder, I feel like the Denver Nuggets are another team that could surprise a lot of people and possibly become the Utah Jazz team of last year this upcoming season. Isaiah Thomas only scored 15 points per game in the 32 games he played last year. And this upcoming season, if healthy, if his hip is totally fine and he plays anywhere from like 70 to 80 plus games this upcoming season, I could easily see him averaging back to 20 points plus per game and being a crucial part of the Denver Nuggets' success this upcoming season. Staying on the subject of backup point guards, let's talk about another backup point guard that plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Dennis Schroder, who's playing behind Russell Westbrook and probably going to be playing a lot alongside with him. When you look at the Oklahoma City roster, what player on that roster besides Paul George can shoot consistently? And even Paul George last season, especially in the playoffs, he wasn't shooting that great. Patrick Patterson, Alex Abrinas, those are some of your best shooters unless they make a trade or they sign a guy in free agency. Dennis Schroder is going to have a good time just chunking up some threes this upcoming season. This team is very defensive oriented, but somebody has to score the basketball when Westbrook or Paul George aren't on the floor. And Dennis Schroder, I could easily see averaging from like 18 to 20 points, depending on how much touches he's able to get with Westbrook being the guy there. It's finally an exciting year for the Sixth Man of the Year award. It could possibly even go to other guys like Tyreke Evans on the Indiana Pacers, and maybe even Eric Gordon again. Moving on to the Defensive Player of the Year award. I have Anthony Davis winning it. A lot of people will probably say Anthony Davis for MVP, and I'm kind of eager on saying that as well. If healthy, Anthony Davis is going to win some award this upcoming season, that's for sure. Last year, I believe Anthony Davis finished top 5 in a Defensive Player of the Year award voting, and this year he might just win it, considering last year Rudy Gobert, amazing defensive player, and it's good to see a big man actually win DPOY once again after Kawhi Leonard's back-to-back and then Draymond Green somehow winning it. Can Anthony Davis win both Defensive Player of the Year award and MVP this upcoming season? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. That'd be pretty interesting to see. Another choice of mine for Defensive Player of the Year would have to go to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard won it back-to-back with the Spurs a few years ago, 2016, 2015. The NBA doesn't seem to like giving back-to-back awards, so I was pretty shocked to see that. But if Kawhi Leonard comes back healthy for the Toronto Raptors, and they're like the first seed in the Eastern Conference, and they make it to the finals for the first time in franchise history, maybe even win the finals, who knows? That's a stretch, but if he becomes the player with the San Antonio Spurs that he once was, or even better than what he was with the San Antonio Spurs, for now apparently having more freedom with the Raptors, it'll be interesting to see all the players getting locked down by Kawhi Leonard and getting the basketball stolen from them. So, can Kawhi Leonard do it again? Now let's talk rookies. I did a separate video on this saying a few Rookie of the Year candidates that I love, but my favorite has to be DeAndre Ayton, #1 overall draft pick. I feel like this is a two-headed race between DeAndre Ayton and the next player that I'll be mentioning for Rookie of the Year. As of right now, DeAndre Ayton isn't a monster defensively. He's more of a player like Karl Anthony Towns when he came into the NBA as a #1 overall draft pick, especially on the Phoenix Suns, where the only other guy there is Devin Booker that's going to be scoring buckets. So points need to come from somewhere, and although Josh Jackson and TJ Warren are there, I feel like those are more 3-and-D-esque guys that can play alongside you and are perfect complementary pieces to a guy like Devin Booker and Ayton, if Ayton's able to become a player that, you know, we project him to be for being the #1 overall draft pick. Another choice would be a guy like Luka Doncic. I always get killed in the comments. You're pronouncing his name wrong. Well, I'll get it eventually, I promise. But the Mavericks, just like the Phoenix Suns, have a bright future. But this upcoming season, with the players that they added, DeAndre Jordan especially, I feel like this team could not easily, let me take that back, can slip into the playoff spot if an injury here or there happens on a team or two above them, just like last season. See them being like a Clippers team of last year, or maybe even the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. And if Luka can do that and lead his team in playoffs like Jason Tatum was able to, and Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons as well, he's a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. Last but not least, my MVPs, and this is a weird one I've seen a lot of people say, but Giannis Antetokounmpo for MVP. He was a 2K cover athlete. That must mean something, right? It doesn't mean anything. I believe him and Anthony Davis were top 5 in MVP voting last year, and if the Bucks want to be better than a 7th seed last year, it's gonna have to start with Giannis. He's gonna have to even further his game. He's starting shooting threes now, apparently. So if he's able to consistently shoot threes, MVP is all his. Seems like each and every single year Giannis keeps getting better and better, and I don't know if this is too premature. It might be next year or the following year, but I'd like to say my favorite is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and my runner-up favorite choice, this is a safe choice, because I was going to say Anthony Davis or a guy like Kawhi Leonard, but I stuck them into the Defensive Player of the Year category so I could have a safe pick, and that is LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like the NBA is just tired of giving LeBron James MVP awards after MVP awards, but he's the best player in the league, hands down. And the projection of the Lakers, they're no longer going to be a bottom dweller of the Western Conference. They're going to be in playoffs, and a lot of people, ESPN analysts, are saying meeting up with the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, I feel like the NBA would want that for ratings. But realistically, in order for the Lakers to get into playoffs, it has to start with LeBron. Their roster is pretty weird because they don't have like a set center besides JaVale McGee, really. It's going to be a lot of weird combinations. You might see LeBron as the point guard, center, and coach this upcoming season, because who knows how he's going to interact with Luke Walton as a head coach of the Lakers. But that's my opinions on the NBA awards this upcoming season. Leave a like on the video, share it around, click on all these other videos on screen. It took a long time to make this video, so it'd be greatly appreciated if you did. I forgot to make a Ben Simmons Rookie of the Year joke in this video, but I feel like maybe next time. Thank you for watching.